I'm going to talk about overweight people today and drug addicts, alcoholics, maybe a few other ones. And I think I can talk about that because I've experienced all those levels of consciousness. And I'm not here to say anybody's bad or weak or stupid or to judge anybody. That's not the point of this video. So what is the point of this video? To bring some awareness to people. Probably none of you guys that are watching me, but maybe you know someone that you possibly could help. Maybe they'll reach out and ask for help. Because here in the West, many of us are killing ourselves with food and drugs, alcohol, and other substances to escape from the real problem. Now, if you go to a doctor, and I've done that in the past, they will give you medication because they want to help you, and that is the only way that most of them know how to help you. But this overweight or obesity or drug addiction or alcohol addiction all stems from a disease, the disease of addiction or the obsession. Now let's think about the word disease. It's two parts. You have the prefix dis and then the part of the word ease, or the full word ease. Dis-ease. But we've said it so much in our society that disease, most of us, including myself until a few years back, I didn't think of it as two parts of one word, dis-ease. So what happens is the person is not at ease in his mental forum or his consciousness. It's not at ease. But what happens is they find ease in food, drugs, alcohol, prescription drugs, maybe work, overworking, over-exercising. I've just about done it with all those things. Or maybe sex. Yeah, that's a tough one there. So they find their ease in these products, we'll say. But it's just a temporary solution to a permanent problem that will remain permanent until they deal with the problem which lies within the person, in each of us. We all have issues: shame, guilt, remorse, regret, many of these things that we carry around with us daily. No man or woman is an island. If you can share this with someone, if you can get these things out, there are spiritual principles or metaphysical principles, if you like, if the word spiritual connotates religion for you. I'm not here talking about religion. I'm not a religious guy. I believe in a power greater than myself, God, universal energy, universal mind, divinity, whatever you want to call it. Call it Luis if you like. That's a Wayne Dyer joke. You can call it whatever you want, but there's something greater than me and you, greater than this conscious mind that says, 2 + 2 is 4, or the conscious mind that constantly wants to figure everything out. Okay, there's that part of you, but it gets stifled or clouded up, or it doesn't function correctly. I'll give you an example. Let's say I go out here tonight, I'm driving around, and this is a small thing. I've done this before. I open the door of the car and I bang somebody's car. Okay, you can barely see it on their car, but nevertheless, I did it. They're nowhere around, so what am I going to do? Nobody saw me, I can leave. Well, I won't leave. I'll put a note on the door if I can't find the owner, which you're not going to find them in a place like Walmart or Deerbergs or the shopping mall. I'll put a note on the door because I'm responsible for that. Now, what if someone did that to my car? Wouldn't I want them to do the same? Well, you say it's a small thing. It is, but it's those small things that add up over a period of time, over a period of years, and you carry these little iniquities with you, these little mistakes. Now, I don't do that because I'm a great guy. I do that because I want to experience the power that flows within each of us. And these little foxes in the vines, as they call them, it's an old saying, you can look it up on Google. These are what spoil the broth. I don't know where these old sayings are coming from, but these are what spoil you. These are what hinder you from walking in your full power, from being at ease in the world without a drink, without a cigarette, without those things. Now, there's nothing wrong with drinking, having a drink once in a while. I don't drink, haven't for years. I smoke a cigarette once in a while. I'll take 4 or 5 hits off of it. Maybe once every 6 months. Maybe I'll smoke one tonight. I don't know. But if you're smoking a pack a day, and I've done that too, years ago, then you're trying to escape the way you feel, because nicotine too is a drug, and it changes the way you feel. Just like marijuana, it changes the way you feel. A couple of beers will change the way you feel. Why do you feel the need? Well, let's say this. Why did I feel the need to change the way I felt? Because, let's say this. Because before I ever used anything that altered my mood, and I've used a lot of things, food, sex, drugs, alcohol, all that stuff. I think we all do. Few of us recognize we ever use those things until it becomes a hindrance in our lives, until it starts causing us to not meet our other responsibilities, until it starts causing us some emotional pain or physical pain. For example, if you overeat, you get heavy, you start carrying that weight around, and that is very uncomfortable. And of course, you don't feel good about yourself. I was overweight once. I got up to like 184 pounds. I weigh about 151 right now, and I'm comfortable with that. I didn't even want to go out. I didn't want people to see me. I had to wear bigger clothes. I jiggled when I walked. I'd try to run, and my legs rubbed together. I hated it, but yet I couldn't stop eating. I had developed that habit when I was boxing. I would starve myself to make weight, and I developed what they call bulimia. It's the binging and purging of food and this. And I get it, man. It's tough. It was easier for me to quit drinking and doing drugs than that, because you have to eat to survive. And once I would start eating, it made me feel good. I didn't realize at the time that I was doing it because I had other things inside of me that made me uncomfortable, that kept me from being at ease. And I used food, and eventually I started using drugs again. I had quit drugs for a while because I'd gotten into sports, and I justified it by saying, well, I just need to do this to lose some weight. I found a reason to convince myself that it was okay, when the reality was I needed to fix what was inside of me. But I was ignorant of that at the time. I did not know that until I met some people later on, and I started learning from people who were wiser than I, who had had the same problems that I was having, and they taught me that this overeating, this drinking, this drugging, whatever, overworking, overtraining, sports, I was using all these things to try to find some ease from the dis-ease of these character defects or sins, some people call them, shortcomings. A sin is just a mistake. That's what I believe. Sin is to miss the mark. It's an Anglo-Saxon term from archery, which means when you miss the bullseye or the mark, it's a sin. You missed the mark. It's not some terrible thing that you're going to burn in hell forever for. The heaven or hell that we experience is right here on earth. Now, you may disagree with me. This is just my beliefs. You don't have to agree with me. But what is separation from, let's say, from yourself or from the power that lives within all of us? It's a feeling of isolation. I've experienced that feeling here on earth. And of course, I tried to medicate it with drugs, alcohol, food, whatever. And it does give you a temporary relief for a time, but eventually it quits working and the results are detrimental to your body. But if you can get this garbage out of you, if you can get these feelings of shame, of guilt, and sometimes these feelings of shame are, you had nothing to do with it. It was when you were a kid. Maybe somebody did something to you, or maybe you stole something. I stole money out of my mom's purse when I was a kid. I really didn't know better. Well, I kind of thought I was wrong, but I did it anyway. And it wasn't until years later that I told her I did that I admitted that. But see, I carried that guilt around with me. And many things I felt guilty for. When my cousins and I got caught playing doctor, I was like 5 years old, I felt ashamed and guilty about that. I was a kid, I didn't know any better. So some of these things that we feel badly about, that we try to escape from these feelings by using substances, we really have no reason to feel badly about them, but we need to talk to someone that we trust and share these feelings, because that's all down inside of you, and we push all that down. I was told alcohol is a depressant, and I'm like, how can alcohol be a depressant when I drink it and I felt high? Well, someone explained to me that it pushes all those feelings, those negative feelings down, and you feel like you normally would if you didn't have that within you. And I found that to be true, because as the years passed and I uncovered this garbage, discovered what it was, uncovered it, and I got rid of it, I feel high, just like I did when I did my favorite drug or my favorite drink, or when I was eating food and it tasted so good. But the after effects of that, of course, with drugs and alcohol, it's a hangover. With the food, it's the guilt, the indigestion, or whatever it happens to be, whatever you ate, how you feel stuffed and uncomfortable, and then the weight gain. So in the end, it's worse. But if you can get this stuff out, and there's a lot of fear there, because maybe you've done something that you're ashamed of, maybe you've done something illegal. Of course, find a person that you can trust and share that with them. Everybody's done things they're ashamed of. Most people have broken laws. Maybe they've speeded, maybe they've run stop signs. And a lot of these things you think are minor, but these things haunt you, these small things, these little things. It's not the big things. It's just like with money. People think, oh, my money goes because I have to buy this big thing and that big thing. But if they would write everything down, it's not the big things. It's not the big electric bill, the big house payment. It's the small things. Going out and eating at night, buying that candy bar, buying that bottle of water instead of drinking out of the faucet. I mean, I could go on and on about that. And it's the same way inside of you. It's usually not the big things. It's the small little things that add up over a period of time that keep you from being at ease. Thus, you have a disease. The disease, well, they say, of addiction, or the obsession of the mind to escape these feelings. And you must be rid of these feelings. A good way to do that is to write these things down on a piece of paper. Everything down that you feel badly about. You won't get it all out at once, but get out what's relevant now. And when you get that out and you sit down and talk to someone about it, and if you've wronged someone, you go back to that person, unless it's going to hurt them or others, and you ask them, what can I do? I've done you wrong. What can I do to make this right? And then do what you need to do to make amends. And this frees you. It's not for them, it's for you. And you can be free of these obsessions and these addictions, and you can be at peace and ease. And no matter how much money you have, you can't buy that. You have to walk through the fear and the pride to take care of these things that live inside of you and put them at rest so you can be at rest. Okay, that's all I have time for today. If you find this of value, share it with a friend. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.